Okay, this is a one-speaker meeting. Please give a warm welcome to your speaker tonight and to my sponsor, Mark M.
All right.
My name is Mark, and I'm an alcoholic. Grateful to be here. Truly an honor and a privilege to speak in a meeting of AA. I have my sponsor here, my sponsee's here, my beautiful woman. That way I can keep the bullshit and the exaggeration down to a minimum. Prayed before I came in here to be able to talk to the newcomers and to, convey a message that AA works. That's a simple message. And, the more I come up here and speak, man, the less I get nervous. A lot of people in this room tonight, but try not to get nervous because I know you guys are looking at me, but you're thinking about yourself. So it takes a little bit of the pressure away from me trying to have to be real smooth and say funny things, So my sobriety date is December 21st, 1997. First started coming around meetings around 1990. Took me a little while to get it. My home group is the Sober Sunday meetings at the Valley Club in the exotic city of Northridge. You guys should come and check it out. Some old school recovery there. I don't know what it was like. I tried to make it work as long as I could, you know what I mean? I love partying, you know what I mean? I love drinking and lampshades on the head and barricading myself in cheap motel rooms and all the stuff that goes along with that stuff. And I look back in my childhood, man, and I say, what makes me an alcoholic? Am I really an alcoholic, And I had no problem copying and being a dope fiend or any of them other names. I didn't really know that I was an alcoholic, though. As I started to go back in my childhood, after doing the 12 steps and just meditating on it, man, I started to think about myself sneaking that alcohol and blacking out at a young age and having fun doing it. It worked. It worked for a long, long time, and then little by little, paranoia started to kick in. I started to experiment with other things, and thank God for those other things, man. It helped it end faster, you know what I mean? Drinking methamphetamine will give you character, you know what I'm saying? If anything else. I don't know what it is about that stuff, man. It's just pornography and being naked somehow equals a good time, and my ego... My ego's the worst part. I think that they actually send out these technicians to hide these cameras in all these little spots, you know what I mean? And someone financed some assassins to go out there and try to kill me. So, because I'm so important that all that effort was put in to desabotage my party. And if you guys are laughing at that, you're sick, man. You're sick. Last time I was here, I heard a real good speaker, Adam P, I believe. Adam T. He was great, man. I took that speaker tape home and I play it all the time, man. And he broke it down real simple. It got to a point where I knew something was up, man. Something was wrong, and it wasn't gonna work anymore, I got lucky at a young age, man. I figured out that I like to draw and that art made me feel good. And I was blessed with two parents, man, that really are beautiful people. They're not alcoholic, and I can't blame them, you know what I mean? It would have been so much easier to blame my old man, when you put cigarettes out on me and punch me in the face. But old man did nothing but support me and back me up. And he just used to do a weird thing when I was a kid, man. Every time I would draw, he put his hand on my shoulder and say, "Son, you're the best artist in the world, man. It's amazing how you do that stuff, And he'd always support me, man, and tell me what a great artist I was. And it was funny because a couple of years ago I went back and I looked at those drawings and they were all stick people, And it's weird that my old man, I don't think he knew what he was doing, man, but he was instilling a belief in me, man, that I was great at something. And that ended up saving my ass out on the streets, you know? Because as I got older, I was trying to fit in high school, and somehow, some way, I decided to hang around. Someone had an attraction for hickeys and hairnets and lowriders and three flowers and feathered hair and Sharpie eyebrows, and all that shit just kind of attracted me, man. That was the good part about it. I didn't really trip on the robberies and prison and shooting people and all that shit. But it was too late. I already made a commitment, man, and I got jumped into a neighborhood in the Harbor area, and I'm a good alcoholic, man, because I want everything with the least amount of work. You know what I mean? I want all the benefits, man. I wanted everybody to be scared of me, but I didn't want to actually have to go to prison and do those things that came along with that. So I devised a plan to go and do gang graffiti in the other neighborhood's main territory. So instead of having to go do those robberies and all that, I will go into other neighborhoods and rap. My neighborhood, as far as I can reach, was too high, but I took some phone books with me and I got up there and it looked crazy, you know what I mean? So I was willing to risk my life in that area, but I knew that wasn't me. I seen guys that were harder than me, tougher than me, getting life sentences and seeing the murders and all that stuff, man. And fuck, I just wanted to get laid and drive a lowrider car, for God's sake, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to do all that other shit, you know. So, you can't just go and time out in the neighborhood and shit, you know what I mean, when you're there. And I don't want to play no more, fellas. You guys are too crazy and shit, you know. So you hear on TV, man, about gangs and you can't get out, only one way out in a basket. Bullshit. All you gotta do is get a job. So that was my plan. I was gonna go get a job. So when the homeboys were like, "Hey, Holmes, you down to do this robbery?" I'd be like, "Hell yeah," but I gotta go to work. Because you don't wanna. You can also move to Riverside, and they won't find you out there either, you know. So my parents weren't trying to move, and so this was the base of my out. What does that have to do with alcoholism and shit? Well, it was me trying to, fit in, trying to be a part of something, and alcohol was fueling it all the way, you know. As I started to say, hey man, I want to get into painting old cars, man. I like these old cars. I want to be around them, and I started doing murals on them, and doing murals in a way was kind of a way to make my neighborhood proud, and I wasn't hurting my own people, you know. And it was weird because at a young age, man, I figured out that whatever I focus on manifests in my life. Whatever I think about all day long seems to show up, good or bad. And I was like, man, I want to go to Japan. Bam, I was on an airplane going to Japan, I swear to God, to go do these murals, man. And I showed up in Japan, and they picked me up in a 64 ragtop on Dayton's, and they all looked like cholos, you know what I mean? They had their hair combed back and Pendletons on, and they came up to me, I was like, oh shit, I tried to go get away from that shit, and I'm in the other side of the world, and these fools come on, they go, oh, Mr. Cartoon. And they were Japanese homeboys, you know what I mean? And the good thing about that, man, is that I was sober. I had actually found the program. I found the other program, and it saved my ass, man, because when I came around from being in them streets and hitting a couple of the detoxes and stuff like that, I needed to go to a meeting where I fit in, where I looked in the crowd, and I had to see all them gangster tattoos, and I had to see the C-section scars and all the gangsters over, you know what I mean, and the Regals parked outside, because that right there, and hearing the homies from I got clean in East LA in the other program, and it worked for a while, I stayed clean. I use that word for a reason, because I was in the other program, and I thought my problem was drugs. If I could just stop doing these drugs, then my life would change. That's the source of my problem. You know, and I'm not here to bash that other program either, because if it wasn't for them, I don't believe I would be here. But as I started to go out of the program, I started to trip out and see people going in and out of these rooms. And I started to see people die. And I found out that this is a life and death situation that we're dealing with right here. You know, I'm saying some stuff, man, that people identify with maybe and start laughing, but this is a serious, serious life and death situation. And, you know, I didn't know, man, that you had to take it as serious as you did the streets. You know what I mean? I didn't know that you had to take a commitment and work these steps and get a sponsor. And well, I did get a sponsor, man, but none of them ever talked to me about the steps. You know, I didn't know about them. And I relapsed as a result of not working this program. Well, it wasn't just, I just didn't relapse out the blue. I didn't wake up that morning and say, you know what, I'm going to go wreck my life for a couple years. You know, I woke up like any other day, got dressed like any other day, but my foundation was real, real weak because I wasn't coming around with you guys because I had a job. I had shit to do. You know, I had bills to pay. I can't come around, you know. Hey, you know, and I'm real good, you know, as an alcoholic, man. We see the differences, you know what I mean? I started separating myself. Little by little, I started separating myself from all of you. And I relapsed as a result of it. And it was horrific, man. You know, I really almost killed myself a couple times, and the only thing I got out of it was going to Amsterdam twice. And I got to tell you guys, do not go to Amsterdam. You got no business being there. But it's weird, man. You go to Amsterdam and they're getting high and they're reading poetry and they're like real laid back and shit. You can see the Americans, they're ODing and passing out and locking themselves up. But anyways, I came to this program beat down, finished, done. You know what I mean? Somehow, some way, I had a spiritual awakening. I knew that it was better over here, yet I wasn't willing it for a long time. But I became willing because two gentlemen talked to me. They took the time, and I respected them. I know they had been to the pen. I know that, and they were tattoo artists, you know, and one of them goes, man, you know, what's wrong with you, man? You know, you should be way up here and you're settling for just barely surviving and you're setting yourself up to die almost every day. Because, you know, your problem, you got one foot in your life and the other foot on a banana peel. At any time, man, you can just wreck yourself, you know? And he spent about an hour talking to me, man, and I hung up the phone with him and I tripped out because he made a lot of sense. And I called up another guy. What I was trying to do is I was trying to borrow tattoo needles, you know what I mean? And these guys go, man, slow down. And they would talk to me, you know, both of them talked to me. And one of the gentlemen goes, look, man, come over on Monday, be sober, don't show up loaded, drinking a beer, or nothing like that. I'm going to sponsor you and I'm going to show you how to tattoo. And he did that. I showed up, man. I borrowed a car, and I got there. And at this point, I had pretty much wrecked myself. I didn't have anywhere to live. I was 30 cents away from having a quarter. I was owing people a lot of money. I was doing bad, man. I had, you know, I owed 10 people money, and I showed up anyways. Somehow, some way, I had a spiritual awakening where I let God come and intervene in my life. Some way, somehow, I said, God, I need help, man. I need help. And it wasn't a real big thing. I didn't get on my knees or something like that. I just did it, and he came in, man. And he came in and he goes, all right, you know, let's see, what are you willing to do, you know? And I showed up and I went to meetings every day, 90 meetings in 90 days. And that guy ended up sponsoring me, man, and he gave me good direction, and it worked for as long as it needed to work. And then eventually, I grew out of him. And I got a better sponsor. I started sponsoring myself at that point, you know. But someone told me, they go, hey, man, you know, if you're sponsoring yourself, that means you got a fool for a sponsor, you know. So it was suggested to me that I go get another sponsor. And I found the sponsor I have today. I had 6 years sober, and I stayed sober purely off of fear, donuts, and war stories, you know, and just flat showing up, you know, just coming. to these meetings, you know. And there's a very, very good chance that if you go to a meeting and you leave, you're not gonna get loaded, you know. And 6 years, within that 6 years, my life really, really turned around, you know. Miracle, you know, a miracle. Miracle for me is something that I don't believe is possible for myself, you know, something I believe is impossible. And getting the trust of my mother back, getting my father back, and, you know, right there, they never cut me off. They're Mexican. They'll wait till, you know, I can live at the pad till I'm 65, 70 years old, you know what I mean? They're not going to kick me out no matter what, you know? And, you know, so it's like they're going to enable me till the grave, you know what I mean? And they just love me. It's unconditional love. And my mother told me, she goes, you know, you'll never know how much I love you until you have your own kid. And I never understood that until I had my own child. And, you know, I said you get what you focus on. And I started thinking, man, you know, I'm 30, 35, man, I should have some kids. And I got 4 immediately. Hey, it was my pleasure. But how about you think about it and it shows up in your life, you know what I mean? I have 4 beautiful children today, man, you know? And they're terrorizing me, man. You know, I pray that they don't do to me what I had to do to my parents, you know what I mean? All I can do is pray about it, and they've never seen me loaded, man, you know? And today is different. You know, I know I bounced all around, and as far as my story goes, but coming into this program, man, I was going to the other program, and in 6 years, I got a new sponsor, and my sponsor goes, okay, well, what I want you to do is open up that blue big book, and I want you to, you know, read these pages, and then come see me on Monday, and we're going to work the first step. So, all right, cool. And I showed up, and it was a How It Works group paper, and I filled it out, you know, and it was talking about being powerless, you know, and admitting, you know, and admitting somehow sounds like telling on someone, but I didn't really, I'd already been around the program, so I didn't have big issues with God or anything like that. I already believed in it. Not so much the Catholic God that I grew up with, but a loving God, you know. So working those 12 steps, it took me a year. It took me a year to do them, man. And my sponsor was very patient with me. The thing was is that I started to figure out that I was an alcoholic, and that I did everything alcoholically, even drugs, you know. Now I can do other things alcoholically, like pizza or chocolate donuts, or, you know what I'm saying? You can spend money. You know, that's real fun once you get some. You know, you can go spend it. You know, and even when you don't got it, you can go spend it somehow if you're creative enough. But it started to change, man. And as I started to work these 12 steps, man, I started to take a look at myself and see that alcohol and those other things, those aren't my problems. It's the way I process information in my head. It's that invisible part of me, you know, that is my problem. And it's so hard to focus for me a lot of times on the invisible part of myself, because I'm kind of grew up like, you know what, when I see it, I'll believe it. You know what I mean? Show me. You can talk about it. You got the talking part down. You know what I mean? I mean, come on. Because, you know, we grow up around bullshitters, you know. And now I believe the opposite is true, that when I believe it, then I'll see it. You know, it's that invisible, silent meditation to God. And it's you know, it's very hard sometimes for me to take everything out of my life, take all the sound out, take all my goals out, take my family out, take what they said about me out, take my worrying and my anxieties out, and just have quietness, that invisible quietness, you know, that silence, God. And, you know, they say music without silence is just one long note. You know, you need that invisible silence, man. And that's a daily process, you know. For the newcomers, you know, there was people that, you know, stood up tonight and identified, man. It's extremely hard to identify, especially if you've relapsed, you know what I mean? But we get excited when we see. I look around like who's coming in. You know what I mean? That's a real big thing to actually surrender, man. It's a miracle that's going down. You know what I mean? And I'm proud to be in AA, man. I would never ever make the changes I did if I wasn't in AA. I would have never made an amends to anybody when they were in the wrong. You know what I mean? I would have never looked for my part in it. You know what I mean? And, they say that a resentment is someone else, that you taking the poison and hoping someone else dies from it. And resentments are fun, man. You can have fun with that stuff, man. You entertain that shit long enough, picture their murder happening, or this and that, and it's all this invisible fantasy of alcoholism kicking in, man, and looking at that difference. And my sponsor says, hey, man, be easy. Don't hate that guy. You might have to walk him through the steps. Damn. Walk him through the steps. I never thought about that, I'm thinking about how he did me wrong and they owe me money, or they did this or they did that, and all that is an illusion, man. It's like we don't even want money. We don't want them pieces of paper, We want what money brings us. Power, security, Not power to step on people, but power to maybe help our family, man, get some, peace and stuff. But it's weird, man. A lot of times I got to grab onto something, to believe that it's there. But everything in Alcoholics Anonymous, man, has been invisible, man. It's that power in the room of all of us together, man, with the common purpose of staying sober today. For the newcomers, man, it's really just coming in, holding on tight, and pretty much doing the exact opposite of what you think is right, And that's a hard thing to do, man, because you're going to get suggestions and it's not going to make sense, but that's okay. You just take direction and listen. And, we never learned anything when we were talking, so it was like we just got to listen and do it and try not to, kill ourselves one day. And that's by asking for God's help, man, because, I thought I did it all, me, my, and it was God that intervened, man, this invisible higher energy that came in and rescued me, And he intervenes all the time when I ask for his intervention, when I say, God, I need direction in this area. And, making amends, doing those things are the opposite of my nature, I've been taught to hate and character assassinate and clown this person. And, we were talking the other day about just having a spiritual, mental cleanse, man, like not putting anybody down for a day, And I usually get about 3 hours in, on a good day, man, 3 hours. That's 3 hours of not actually putting someone down, man, because I like to divert it. Look at them, look how messed up they are, and it's makes myself look better, But it's getting better, man. You know what I mean? I go through days and have fun. I actually righteously have fun, and I help people today, and it's a result of me not being loaded and just waking up and say, I'm gonna have fun today. That's it. Like I actually give myself an order that I'm gonna have fun today, and that's it. It's a daily practice, But for the newcomer, just coming in and believing that we're gonna stay sober together. We do it together, and it's all of us sticking together. And whatever you think is gonna manifest, man. If you just come in and go, oh man, I can't drink again. How am I gonna go to the movies, man? How am I gonna ever have sex or draw a picture or something, man? Oh fuck, I'm fucked. It's over. That's what you're gonna get out of it. You know what I mean? I heard it here earlier tonight. But if you go, man, I got an opportunity here, man, to not only help myself but help my family, man. You know what I mean? I could. If my nose works today, It's like I have a hard time giving thanks for the simplest things, My eyes, my vision, my legs, you know what I mean? I look at my children, man, I turn into the biggest marshmallow. I got all these tattoos and all this shit, man. I'll tell you what, I got these kids, man. I cried on the trailer to a movie the other day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what movie. I think it was The Soloist or something like that. Damn. Look around and sure the fellas aren't watching, but damn, I'm choked up. You know, the kids, man, I don't know what it is about children, man. They just open those gates, you know what I mean? And can I be the father that my father was to me? Can I put my, you know, I got a 15-year-old boy. I'm on his ass. He tried to write some gang neighborhood the other day. Oh, I was ready to drive him over. I know the fools that run the neighborhood. I was like, oh, we'll get you jumped in right now. You know, let's see how good you do, you know? I was hot, you know what I mean? But can I have the patience with this kid to love him, man, and say, no, you don't want to do that. Get him punched in the face. Hey, that's just the beginning of it. You know what I mean? It's that craziness, man, how we're attracted to that nuttiness in life, man. And now, man, life's different, man. You know, I pull up in the valet with the latte in my hand. You know what I'm saying? Homeboy / homeowner. How you like me now? You know, I ain't paid the motherfucker off, but it's shit. I got a mortgage. Hey, I bought my parents a house. How do you like that for a concept? You know what I'm saying? How about being of service? You know what I'm saying? That's what I have to look in the mirror and say, be of service today. Help somebody else out. And I don't say that to impress you guys. I say it to impress me because I can't believe it still. I can't believe it's my house. You know what I'm saying? I got my luggage packed by the door just in case they kick me out and tell me to give me the boot. You know what I mean? And I haven't barricaded myself in that house. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no one out to get me, all that stuff, you know. It's crazy, man. But, you know, you guys know my sponsee. He's a character, man. Rudy, man. I love Rudy, man. You know what I'm saying? And I was actually real tight with the son, man, you know. Real tight with the son. And I tried to get his son in here, you know what I mean? And I would work on his son, and he goes, I'm cool. I'm not an alcoholic. You got to talk to my old man. You know, and Rudy helps me more than he knows, you know what I'm saying? I mean, walking someone through the steps, man, I mean, that's when I started to understand them. When you have to explain them to someone else, you know what I mean? Well, what does that mean? You're, I gotta call my sponsor up, you know? Fuck it. I don't got a degree in it, you know what I mean? I call my sponsor up and say, what does that mean again? And he'll explain it to me. So if you guys are doing that, it's a beautiful thing. Walking someone through the steps, man. One of my sponsees, he started at 1 and finished at 12. And we do our fifth step with the priest. You know, Father Steve. My sponsor goes, look, I don't want to hear about the farm animals or any of that type of stuff, man. I just, you know, we take it to the priest, man, you know. He's heard it all, you know. I'm not saying there's any farm animals involved, but I've watched the movies, man. They're sick. But, you know, it's normal in Europe. But coming to a place where alcohol's no longer there. Now what? We got all these emotions to deal with, man. We got us to deal with. You know what I mean? I can't mask them under that stuff no more. So it's AA, you know, it's living without alcohol, man. Living without those mind-altering substances, man. That's hard to do, you know. It's hard to do, but it's so much easier than being out there running the streets, lying and bullshitting and doing all that stuff, man. And, you know, I have 11 years today, but I don't. I have just this present moment today. I have the same amount of time as these newcomers, you know. Really, this present moment right now. Because if I'm worrying about the future or I'm feeling guilty on the past, I'm missing out on now, you know. And I go to a step study every Tuesday, you know. Last night I had to work. I didn't get to make it, but my sponsor goes, we did Vision for You. We read about Vision for You, you know. And going to them step studies, man, if you guys aren't in one right now, you should get into one, you know, and to understand that book, because it's amazing. It's a good thing I wasn't involved in writing that book. You know what I mean? I would have messed it all up, man. You know what I mean? I made it about me somehow. But just when you start to get a little bit of grasp of this program, they throw you up here in a podium and you got to talk in front of a bunch of strangers and talk about, you know, the crazy things in your life. But it is beautiful, man. I got to tell you, you know, I would go to meetings and people go, "Oh man, this is fucked up." I was like, "Man, you know that's for your sponsor, man. You need to get up there and talk about what's working in life." You know what I mean? And AA does work, man. And you know, 11 years under my belt, you think I'd at least be a purple belt by now. You know, but just when I start to think I know something about it, the complete opposite is true, and I have to keep it real simple. But thank you, Richard, for having me come up here, and I want to congratulate everyone that took cakes, man. You know, I thought that was like getting an Emmy or something. You know what I'm saying? And I would go to 12 meetings and take cakes. You know what I mean? Take my award. You know. Now I take them at places that I'm of service. You know what I mean? And that I go to, and you know, it shows other alcoholics that this thing does work. So congratulations to everyone that took cakes and accepted chips, man. Those things, you know, really mean a lot. A lot of times they're good to give them away, especially if you got a drawer full of them. You know, it's good to give them away to other people, man. And, you know, I'm extremely grateful to be here, and thank you for letting me share.
All right.